I think we're set. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. This is the second webinar of 2025 hosted by BHyve called Buzzbox Live. I'm Ketki Ogle, the co-founder and CEO of BHyve. We started this series because we know a lot of amazing people who are doing great work in companies. They're doing knowledge efficiency, quality improvements, process improvements, and we want to create a conversation around these topics. We just spoke right now, knowledge management is all about sharing stories. And so if we can create a medium through which different professionals at different stages of their careers in knowledge management can learn from each other, to us, that is the best outcome that we can deliver for the community. So that's what we are here for today. Today is episode 2, Scaling Success with AI, how AI helps companies avoid reinventing the wheel. Now, I want to start off this session, Vinodji, Praveenji, with a short story. The interesting thing is this story is also one of the reasons why we built BHyve. Okay. So my co-founder Vihang, who has built our entire technology, started his career in the US at a company called Internet Brands. Now, I don't know if people here have heard of Internet Brands, but we've all heard of the website called WebMD. कुछ भी हमें हो जाता है, we go and we search, and WebMD always points it to something dangerous, right? So Internet Brands is a company that has many such, close to about 70 such sites as a part of the group. So you have WebMD, which is for medical, you have All Law, which is for law, Cars Direct, ऐसे काफी सारे उनके portals हैं. Now, unfortunately, inside the company also, there are satellite teams working on each of these sites. And so you may have one team which spends months, writing code, testing it out, doing iterations, user interviews, so on and so forth. But when they would take the code, the final product up to the leadership would say, "Arey, why are you doing this? Don't you know वो दूसरे company ने already ये करके implement कर दिया है? Why don't you take it from them?" Now, I cannot imagine the frustration of a team after all of this months of mehnat, realizing that, hey, all of this could be avoided. And this wasn't like an isolated incident, right? It happened 7 out of 10 times. And that got frustration is what Vihang felt, which led him to talk to me and say, Ketki, we need to build some place where all of this can sit together. Mujhe nahi karna hai faltu ka kaam, right? And to us, that was the beginning of the discussion around BHyve. Now, this is again not an isolated incident in software. Manufacturing has it. Hindalco spoke to us. They said, "Hamare alag-alag plants, alag-alag cheeze karte hain. We want to bring them together." R&D has it. Consulting firms have it. Big, large companies like yourself have it. And the impact is directly monetary. Deloitte has a study which says that silos of knowledge can cost companies about $5.7 million. That's about 50 crores of money. Now, I know different companies here will have different, numbers that they will calculate, but the problem is shared and the impact is monetary. And so that's why today's session is focusing on how your organizations, GMR and Tata, which have such diversified business, there is air, there is infrastructure, chemicals, food and beverage, motors, so on and so forth. But you both and your teams have managed to avoid this, vicious cycle of duplication. You have built a system of centralization. And that is what we want to learn from you today. Our chance is that you break it down for us. Tell us what is quick steps that any company, even as small as BHyve, can do, and what is the larger vision we can paint. And then is the interesting part that maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even the example I gave 20 years ago, the cool technology that was helping it happen was SMS. Now, today we have AI, and you both are at the forefront of exploring different ways in which AI can help in avoiding this duplication of effort, in duplication of a wastage of time that people experience. So we want to plug in that and see how AI can help short circuit. I like to say the word short circuit a lot of processes, a lot of tasks for your employees. So that's the large sort of premise of this conversation today. Quick introductions about you both. Praveenji, you have been a champion of knowledge management for the past 20 plus years, 30 plus years nearly, and you have been with various companies like Tata and GMR. A little bit about you that I will read out from your profile itself. Um, Give me a second. Uh, my internet is a little wonky, but Praveenji is the head of group head of business excellence at GMR Group. He holds a bachelor's degree in engineering in electrical and electronics from Karnataka University and a postgraduate in business and marketing management from IGNOU. He's a qualified business excellence practitioner, certified project management professional. He has conducted various business excellence assessments and served as a coach and trainer in problem solving methodologies, facilitated workshops on different topics, and also framed governance structures for continuous project improvements and initiated various knowledge management efforts in the company. And this is not just in today's company, but all the companies that he has worked with. So, Praveenji, thank you so much for being here with us. Um,
Thank, yeah, thank you, Ketki, and we have time for giving me this opportunity. Really appreciate.
Perfect, perfect. Vinodji, we'll also cover a little bit about you. Um, I have it somewhere, but I will pull it up in just a second. This is usually a seamless process for me, but knowledge search can be a hassle, is what we already know. Uh, Vinodji has been with Tata Business Excellence Group for the last 6+ years. Vinodji, is that right?
No, 16 plus years.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that is my bad. Uh, Vinodji is officially, his title is the Assistant Vice President at Tata Business Excellence Group. He specifically leads the Deep Diagnostics Division. So, Vinodji, we would love to understand what that means. Um, and also the data maturity and improvement intervention practices at TBEX. This includes sourcing of best practices, curation, dissemination, implementation, and benchmarking. I think benchmarking is an interesting one that we will for sure cover today when you talk about replicating of success. He has also helmed the training function at TBEXG, revamped the TBEM training programs, and brought in elements of the Baldrige framework. Now, this is again something I would love for you both to talk about. We talk about knowledge management in very practical aspects, but what are the frameworks that you discuss would be a great place to start. Before joining TBEXG, Vinodji worked in Tata Technologies and Tata Motors for 15 years in CAD, CAM, and CAE manufacturing and technical functions. Has a bachelor's degree from Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra. Thank you so much, Vinodji, for being here. We'll start off the conversation. Does that sound good?
Thank you, Ogle, for the generous introduction.
Perfect. All right, so we'll jump right into it. I don't want to beat around the bush. We all know that organizations face this problem that when teams are not structured, they don't have, sort of when I was taught in business school, there is a cross hierarchy that goes to help exchange knowledge, parallelly or horizontally, as you say. And if that is not present, teams end up solving same problems over and over again, repeating the same work again and again. So my first question is, one, can you share practical examples where you have seen this, maybe in places where inefficiency was already there or an implementation was not done? And what was the practical impact of that kind of a inefficiency? I'll open it up to either of you for any live examples that you can talk about.
Praveen, after you.
Yeah, okay, I should take it. Okay. So let me, as rightly, thank you, Ketki, again, once again, and thank you all of my friends and colleagues who have joined today for this session. Wonderful to see you all. Uh, uh, First, I'll touch base on the framework. It's very important. Let us understand any organization when it starts a knowledge management journey or a business excellence journey, it should have some framework in place. Okay, a process in place, so that over a period of time you build a very, very robust process in place. So subsequently the results will start follow. So let me take you around 2-3 minutes just to give you background what we have done in GMR, so that you can also replicate in your businesses. No matter it's a small organization or a big organization, always the baby step starts from this basic fundamental process steps, I would say. Okay.
Perfect.
So you are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, Praveen.
Yeah. And just put it in full screen. Okay, so as rightly mentioned by Ketki, we are in different businesses like airports, energy, transport, urban infra, sports, foundation. So with the diversity, the complexity of managing the business and also the knowledge also increases. But the advantage is that we get a lot of different knowledge bases with the diversity. So it is an advantage, I would say, rather than a disadvantage to be in multiple businesses. Okay. Second, geographically, if you see, we are present across all over India and few of the world countries, especially in Philippines, then Indonesia and Greece. Okay, so the presence in India is huge. Okay, and across the geographies, so that also brings in a lot of diversity in our knowledge. And the framework, this is the main thing what drives business excellence or knowledge management in our organization. So we have been following the Baldish framework for last 15 years. So started the journey in 2010. It is the same framework which Tata follow basically. And if you see there, I'll just touch base upon only two aspects here. One is the knowledge assets. Okay, so across the organization, we should have a very, very clear understanding of what comprises of knowledge assets. And you can very clearly see that ideas, learning, understanding, memory, insight, cognitive, all technical skills and capabilities which the organization and the employee possesses. So all these comprise of knowledge asset. And what the criteria focus is basically how we use this knowledge across the organization, and three questions we have to answer basically. Okay, so how we build and manage the knowledge across the organization, how we share the best practices across the organization, and how we create this knowledge and resources throughout the organization over a period of time. So we over a period of time can become a learning organization basically. So so in GMR, we have followed a very, very simple framework, I would say, a simple process wherein these are the three elements are which comprise of our KM framework. So if you look at the main aspects, so the best practices, which are nothing but the good practices, good things happening across the organization, how we can tap, identify them early and bring across the organization. Second is the lessons learned, where we will be making mistakes as employees in the organization. But the very good part is identify what we has gone wrong, capture that thoroughly, and share it across the organization. And that's what we have done through knowledge sharing sessions. And these knowledge sharing sessions are nothing but best practices, lessons learned, and again, over and above which are required for your day-to-day operations. And these all three go and sit into your KM portal, which is GMR Jigyasa is nothing but our BHyve portal. Over a period of time, over a period of time, all these knowledge assets will start getting aligned to the business requirements of business night. It does not start from day one. Okay. So first we need to start build that culture of sharing and across the organization, and over a period of time, you start aligning all these requirements with business needs. Okay. So that's what we have done in GMR. So I'll share a very two particular stories, processes, I would say, where practically we have implemented these knowledge management initiatives across GMR group. So first I'll take the projects. Okay. So as you know, GMR across the businesses. So we build a lot of airports, power plants. Okay. So I am giving an example of airports, what we have done here basically. So the airports has defined processes, almost 23 processes are there, which are segmented into 3 volumes. Okay. So bringing this, so if you have basic knowledge of project management, so there is a word called as work breakdown structure. So the entire project is broken down into some packages. Okay. So the same work breakdown structure we have implemented for knowledge management. So in case of airport, so if you see, there are major 3 packages in any airport. One is the airside, second is the land side, and the third is the terminal. Okay. So these are the 3 major packages in an airport environment. So based on the work breakdown structure, we have built the knowledge breakdown structure, and we have created basically a structure in the sense that the entire knowledge gets captured in this format. Okay. And over and at every stage of the project, so there are stage gates basically. So once you reach, let's say, 10% of your project schedule or the completion, then 25%, 50%, 75%, then 100%. So at various stages of the project, you start collecting that knowledge. Okay. And once you start collecting that knowledge, and after each stage gate, you also share this knowledge with all the project guys. Okay. You sit, brainstorm it. Okay. And this is the way what we have done in GMR basically. So you can see the entire project at various stages, the learnings gets captured. So almost 70, 80 project learnings, best practices under different levers, we have been able to do that. So one is example which practically we have implemented in our airports environment, construction environment. And second, if I want to give in our operations, so in operations, we have focused on 3 levels. One is that knowledge whichever business is having, okay, or best practices is having, whether that best practice we can bring at group level. So group level in the sense that it is cutting across all the businesses, like the FIRES initiative which we started in GMR in 2012. So one of the good practices which was one of our business GKL, GMR Kamalanga Energy, had adopted was the FIRES model exhibition. So a lot of live demonstration of FIRES models they used to do that. Same exhibition now we last 3 years Delhi airport has started doing it. What is being done here basically is we are inculcating a best practice which was there in one organization. So the awareness of 5 years, the benefits of 5 years gets the you can say facilitate across the organizations. Similarly, at sector level, like we have a airport sector, we have an energy sector. So especially there, in those sectors, like say the in airports, we implemented a smart trolley system in Hyderabad airport. This best practice or this innovation we then shared with the Goa airport, Delhi airport guys. Then they came and built many applications and useful systems based on this smart trolley system. Similarly, in energy, when any capital on annual overhaul happens in any of the businesses like Varora power plant or Kamalanga power plant, after the overhauling, a 1 day workshop is held by these teams. They sit whole day, brainstorm it, मंथन का जैसे करते हैं, and they share all the whatever the good things they have done and what they could have done better in that overhauling. So these are the ways and means which in practical we have been doing in GMR. So which I think has benefited immensely. So here I'll stop here. Then going forward, we can again take some questions and elaborate more on the practical examples. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Praveen ji. That's an awesome start. Vinod ji, over to you. Stories, practical examples.
Very interesting to listen to Praveen and how they are driving knowledge management in GMR. I will see our group is also very similar to the GMR group, very varied in the type of businesses that and the companies that we have in the group. But before getting into specific examples about how knowledge management has been managed in different companies and at the central level through Tata Business Excellence Group, what I would like to say is, all mature companies, companies which have been in existence for a long time and have grown in size, scaled up significantly over the last couple of decades or whatever number of years, right? Now, knowledge management has been in existence for a very long time. Whether we used to call it knowledge management or not is immaterial, right? The very fact that we are looking to standardize our processes, so that they're easily replicated, and they're implemented or executed in a consistent manner. We have created process documents down to SOPs, specifications. This process, the specifications are these. At the end of the day, what is this? This is knowledge only, which is getting captured in some form or the other so that people use and reuse that knowledge to do it in the best possible manner that is known till that time, right? Now, so this is and all of these documents are, I mean, for knowledge management folks, we will be familiar with tacit and explicit knowledge, right? So all of this is explicit knowledge. Now, how we've been managing tacit knowledge is through training programs. For those processes where it is nearly impossible to write step-by-step instructions, we have resorted to training people to deal with several if then else situations when executing any kind of work, which is not a sequential or a, very cast in stone kind of process. So the tacit knowledge we have been transferring to people from one generation to the other through training programs in the organization. Now, the way we deliver this has been changing over the years. Now, if I were to take some early examples from Tata companies, TCS several decades back came up with a platform um, whereby all data about all the projects was stored. Starting from what was the lead that came, what was the RFP submitted, what was the contract, what was the project plan, what went right, what went wrong, what kind of people, or everything that you can imagine about that project from start to end. The entire project life cycle got captured. And typically, you can imagine TCS would be doing a few, maybe 100,000 projects in a year globally, right? So how do you gather and learn from that amount of data? So I'm talking about 3 decades back or maybe 2 decades back, they had created an IT-based, technology-based platform to ensure that they do minimum rework in any project at minimum cost on time. See, we can always say, we are preventing redoing of things through knowledge management, which is a fact. To my mind, more important than the cost and the productivity and whatever else you call the benefits that we derive from knowledge management, to my mind, the single most important thing is the time to market. How do we reduce the time to market? That has to, that gives us the edge in the marketplace. Knowledge management can help us in that also. Now, I'll give an example from a very different company, retail. We have Westside, a company called Westside, which sells apparel, right? They have, I don't know how many days they've crashed it to now. I'm talking about a few years back. A very old store which has been in existence for 10 years, let's say. They want to refurbish it. Now, typically, when you have to refurbish an entire store, we think, oh, okay, the store has to be closed down and, it has to be repair and fresh furnishing and everything, right? So you have to stop operations for a few months and then it gets refurbished and then you reopen the store. In the case of West Side, they do in 1 week, they refurbish the entire store. 1 week, I'm talking about 7, 8, 10 years back. I don't know in how many days they turn it around now. So you're minimizing the loss of sale. You have perfected a process. You have captured all the knowledge in the form of fantastic documents and training of people who execute that process, right? So tacit and explicit knowledge. What is happening now? The the difference is compared to 30 years back and now is that I call it the three V's. The velocity at which data and information is getting generated.
Yes.
The volume, velocity, and variety of data and information
Mm.
that is coming to us. It's impossible to process by any human being or as many number of human beings is impossible. You need to use technology, right?
Correct.
Now what we are doing AI enabled, creating AI enabled application, AI enabled CRM. What is it? AI is nothing but vast amount of knowledge, vast amount of data with a lot of expertise embedded into a machine with in the form of
Algorithm.
algorithms
Yeah.
which processes that data. We know the DIKW framework, right? Data, information, knowledge, wisdom.
Correct.
So the technology does, the algorithms works on the data using the expertise that has been embedded in those algorithms to perform intelligent tasks, tasks which don't require any rework, tasks which help you do first, reduce the time to market. So all these, any AI application is knowledge management at work,
Yeah.
right? Now the thing is, uh, what I have concluded
Mm.
over so many years of what I have seen across organizations. And I have listened to knowledge management experts, independent experts, and from other companies, groups. The moment you call it knowledge management, you are increasing the chances of failure.
Mm.
It has to be a non-intrusive part of whatever you do. Now, in the olden days, when we were creating procedures, SOPs, training modules, we were not calling it knowledge management.
Correct.
We were saying we want to do it consistently. We want to do it with minimum rework. We want to do it faster than others,
Yes.
right? We were talking in business language, but what we were doing, we were practicing tenets of knowledge management
Yeah.
without tom-tomming that we are doing knowledge management. If you look at AI, it is nothing but knowledge management. But the moment you do a big song and dance around it, say we are doing knowledge management, it remains only as a branding activity and as a song and dance activity. Now, if you talk big about knowledge management and all, for majority of the people anywhere in the world, they interpret it as yet another portal being dumped upon them with the KRA of uploading so many number of artifacts.
Yeah.
Majority of the people interpret it that way. So my learning is you apply all the tenets of knowledge management into your day-to-day work, whether humans are doing it or machines are doing it, or you are using technology to do it. That's how I look at it. And in terms of uh, there's another aspect, ask the expert or find the expert,
Yeah.
right? Now, in the olden days, who was the expert itself was a different,
No.
was not an easy thing. Then it became easier. It became easier. You create a directory, and then it became easier to search. And then you had Mr. Vinod Kumar has expertise in CAD CAM, furnace operations, X, Y,
Correct.
Z, and so on. Right? That's about it. But today, the level of expertise is not. I want someone who has worked in the electric arc furnace, but I want someone. I have a problem, a specific problem in managing composition while melting metal in a arc
Mm.
furnace,
Mm.
right? I don't need a general arc furnace
Generalist.
expert.
Mm.
I want someone who has dealt with this problem in the past. That is where, the AI based searches help us. And today, fortunately, unlike in the past, not even in the recent past, uh, we have lots of ways to capture, store, and process unstructured data, which is nothing but tacit knowledge. in the form of audio visuals. Like a lot of people are taking notes, we are recording. If we figure out way to process information from 100 recordings and get insights, that is nothing but knowledge management. You are embedding your knowledge into algorithms, right? So today, technology is helping us process, source, process, and consume unimaginable amount of tacit knowledge through unstructured data
Correct.
forms, which come in unstructured data forms, right? So these are some of the aspects that I thought I will talk about in terms of how the landscape of knowledge management is shifting. But if you were to ask me one lesson, it's a simple lesson is don't ever make a shosha of knowledge management. If you want to talk about knowledge management in highly mature companies, it makes sense. But
Mm.
companies who have not really tasted knowledge management and look at it with askance, and the only thing they can figure out is it's a portal somewhere, somebody trying to force people to do something on that portal. Please don't use the word knowledge management. Go about follow all the tenets of knowledge management and embed it in your day-to-day work. That is my one learning in the area of knowledge management.
Perfect. No, I think wonderful. Both of you have given us some very specific perspectives on how to think about knowledge management from the framework side to real world applications, usage in your own companies. One common note that I found, which Praveenji started with and Vinodji you closed with, is how closely it is related to your day-to-day operations. So even if you are
Absolutely.
thinking कि मुझे knowledge management करना है, it is not that you have to go and dig a fresh hole somewhere or start a fresh building somewhere. You just have to study what you are doing in your day to day work. Where are the gaps and how do you solve for them? That itself is your knowledge management. It's stuff people are anyway doing day to day in their work.
Absolutely. We've been doing it since ages.
Absolutely. And so the more you think of it as improving day to day functionality, operationality, bringing in, like you said, consistency, replicability, scalability into your business, you are doing knowledge management. Then the portal becomes like a method to do it or like a platform to do it. But the work is the
Correct.
work itself, right?
We need to
For sure.
identify what kind of knowledge do we need, where does that knowledge reside, how to get that knowledge inside our system,
Sure.
how to process it and keep reusing it. Now you
Perfect.
can do it in the form of documents, you can do it in the form of
Agent.
AI algorithms, AI based searches. You have unstructured, we are blessed to have so much unstructured information. And in my view, and we have always said, knowledge management is 70%, at least 70% tacit knowledge. Today, we have a method to capture and process tacit knowledge.
Yeah. We call it water cooler wisdom. Because I had a team member who joined BHyve saying that the most important things that he figured out in the workplace were at the chai counter below the company. Because he said, वहां
Yes,
पे सब
yes,
लोग
yes.
गप्पे मारते थे, and that's where I would find help the most.
Hmm.
But so great. I think that is a great start. Vinodji segued us into the next question, which is how are you practically using or exploring AI in doing knowledge management? Again, the question comes back to the same thing that it is not knowledge management as a separate activity, but in improving day to day work, whether it is work of professionals in manufacturing, operations, safety, quality, so on and so forth. What are some AI experiments that you both are running in your companies to help improve the work that people do and help improve the work life of the people also?
If I may go first, I won't take credit for any of these because, in our group, there are companies who make their own KM strategy, own everything, right? And they do come to us from time to time based on certain requirements. But I'll give you some examples, Um, yeah, if I were to talk about AI enabled,
Hmm.
right? Is that what you want to
Yes, yes, yes.
talk about? Yeah. So I alluded to AI-enabled CRM
Hmm.
applications, AI-enabled project management applications. You name anything, whatever application you can develop today, you can embed AI into it, which is nothing but embedding the knowledge of several experts not only from within your organization, but global experts. All the knowledge that is available in the world anywhere can be harnessed to create algorithms, AI algorithms, right? Um, so there are several cases, I'm sure in every company it happens. For example, in a company, very that company is in a highly regulated business, and they have to create very complex contracts which have
Yeah.
long 25-year-old 25-year validity with severe consequences if things go wrong and stuff like that. And it used to take months to prepare a contract. Even then, people won't be sure that the contract is bulletproof. Now we are using large language models in the company to create create the final version of the contract within a couple of weeks.
Mm.
And the confidence is there that it is nearly bulletproof, right? How do we do that? Harnessing on the knowledge that exists in the world through AI, right? Through generative AI. There are several companies which are using bots, and they have become commonplace now, right?
Yeah.
Um, now, in the area of, let's say, manufacturing, right? We hear about digital twins today,
Yeah.
right? Process twins, asset twins, digital twins, right? What are these digital twins? They're nothing but knowledge captured in a set of chips and algorithms, right? So there are companies within several companies within the group, manufacturing companies, which are creating digital twins because knowledge is dwindling today, unfortunately. So it's a multifold problem. One, knowledge is dwindling. You don't get people to execute those operations. So the number of people who have that core knowledge is reducing. How do
Reduce.
you keep it trapped in your company? One of the methods is to create digital twins of very complex processes where a lot of knowledge of 50, 60 years of hundreds of people has to be embedded.
Yeah.
So there are these digital twins which are helping us. Uh, IoT, wherever, of course, digital twins are powered by IoT and AI. There are hundreds of examples of how technology is being used to um harness the knowledge that has existed in the ecosystem for Tata Group is 150 years old. So it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Praveenji, over to you. How are you looking at AI in your day-to-day work and in knowledge management?
Okay. See, I look it in a different way, in more of an enabler basically. Yeah. So and this AI application or usage of late means we are just a very new entrant, I would say. Yeah, we are in the learning curve. In couple of years, what we have done, and I see a lot of potential there. So I'll give a simple example. Okay. So the BHyve portal has been very active for last 1 year in energy sector, correct? In
Mm.
Aurora Energy Power Plant, as well as in GKL, and one of the airports is Hyderabad Airport. So what I did was a couple of weeks back, I just searched I gave a prompt to the AI tool saying what are the causes of boiler tube leakages. Okay,
Mm.
I did that search in the Google also, and I did the search in BHyve also,
Mm.
and they throw very different uh, what you say answers to me, the prompt, huh? So when I did I have captured that screenshot. Okay, I'll show you that, very interesting, and why AI is such a powerful tool going forward. I just wanted to bring you that aspect. And if you look at 20 years back or 30 years back, we were starving for data. Okay, we did not anywhere if you go and see for analysis, we were starving for data. Data was not available, not captured. But over a period of say last 5, 6 years, if you see, there is so humongous amount of data. We are overwhelmed now. Okay, now okay, we don't have time to do the analysis now. So that is
Mm.
the challenge which AI as a tool really fits in very well. That's what I wanted to share with the team. So I'll just share one a very simple application which is very, very useful. uh. So when I did a search, uh, so this is, you are able to see the screen.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Okay. So this is a Google search, okay, which I did. This is also AI. Gemini gave me the answer.
Answer. Yeah.
Okay, so look at the, okay, I did what are the root causes of boiler tube failures. Okay, and this was the answer, very, very generic answer. Okay, and it may have referred a lot of documents and everything which across the world this data was available, information all. It has just called out corrosion, scale up, build up, thermal shock, other causes, everything it has summarized and given me the answer. Now, when I go to the BHyve search, and now this is the output which I got from the BHyve portal. And this data or information is coming out only from the documents which the Aurora team or our energy team has uploaded on the BHyve portal. So you look at the difference what it is making in terms of. So I am getting very, very specific data or information pertaining to that organization or to that company. Okay. And this is very, very important. Just imagine if you are new to the organization, okay, and I'm just started 1 year. Okay, this is just one
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
data uploaded on the portal, and it is giving me a very, very different, very specific output for basic. Imagine after 10 years, when myself is not associated with the organization and new generation guys coming here and just doing a search and getting so much of data information in just click of a button. It is just what you say, na miracle for an engineer, okay, who has joined as a GET in an organization and wants to know the power plant and nuances, failures, different types in just on click of a button. He'll get a summary and very specific to that power plant, not dump from the across the organization, but very specific to that. So from that potential, I'm looking at it is an investment. What I'm
Mm.
looking at over a period of say 10, 20 years, build a solid knowledge repository which will give immense benefits over a period of time, generation to generation. I'm saying it's like a mutual fund, correct? रातों रात नहीं बना है. You stay invested long in the knowledge management initiative, the benefits will be coming forth. Okay, from that aspect, I'm looking it's a very, very powerful tool. And it will be very helpful for at least GMR. I'm seeing that because of the diversity of the businesses. Okay, we are so diverse and so much of things are happening very dynamically, things are changing. And what Vinod also said, okay, we are also in the same sector where contracts are almost for 30 years. Our
Yeah.
Delhi airport itself, the contract is for 30 years, and again it can be renewed for 30 years. After 30 years, whatever learnings of these 30 years, I don't know where we have to keep this, correct? For the next 30 years, who will be executing that contract? Okay, so these 30 years of learning will be immense. So
Yes.
from that aspect, I'm looking the AI tool, what will be embedded in the portal. It is very, very enabler. It will save a lot of time, definitely, and help the organization to really build some very efficient, effective systems going forward.
Fantastic, Praveen. That example
Yeah.
was very good. I want to add
Mm,
another dimension to it. Just
mm,
imagine today you
mm.
have documents which are giving you this output.
Yes.
Tomorrow, if you start recording conversations where there is a severe critical breakdown of a critical machine, and you record the discussions, the
Mm-hmm.
problem solving discussions, and if you
Exactly.
are able to use those recordings to extract knowledge, imagine how rich that will be.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I have an example on this. Okay, we did a pilot with a company which was a pharmaceutical company,
Hmm.
and as both of you know, I have this genuine interest in going and seeing businesses as and what is happening. So they invited me to come and watch and see the entire plant. Now I had to wear multiple PPE kits and all of the protective gear, and then I got inside where the vaccines were being manufactured. Interesting thing was there were a group of three international professionals somewhere from Southeast Asia, or Greater Asia, who were setting up a new machine, and standing behind them were four junior engineers who were observing everything, so that after these guys who are setting up the machine have left, these guys know कि अरे किया क्या है यहाँ पे, कौन सा कहाँ पे लैच हुआ है, कौन सा कहाँ पे लीवर पुल करना है. This was things that they were capturing in their minds at that point of time. And that was my exact thing to the person I was with, that yahan pe na we should have a system where BHyve can capture all of this as the installation is happening, the physical manuals along with the video of the whole process, and let it sit in a place, and then AI can find you 5 saal 10 saal whenever else
Sharper
you need.
results. We will get sharper results actually.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I saw this happen in
So
person.
this is capturing tacit knowledge. Today it has become that much easier.
Correct, correct. Awesome. Okay, so our next part, which is almost the end of our conversation today, is small tips. Because a lot of companies don't have budgets, don't have big teams, they want to know easy 3 steps hum kya kar paye to start on this journey. So you guys, of course, started at some point of time. So there must have been some, ground level initiatives, first 2 3 steps that you took. We'd love to hear those teams will want to have that in their kitty when they start this journey. I'll open it up, either of you.
Okay. Vinod, you want to take or I should go?
You please
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
I'll follow
Yeah.
you.
So very useful, and still in many of our GMR group companies also, few are going
Just
through that
starting.
journey and through that challenges. So the first I tell my team members is you catch hold of 12 HODs. Who have at least 15, 20 years of experience in their respective functions, basically. And they'll definitely must have gone through 2, 3 companies where they have worked in the past and come to GMR. Okay. Block their calendar for only for 1 hour to 2 hours in a year. So they have been only assigned one knowledge sharing session, especially tacit knowledge, which is nobody in the organization is available to the readily available in the organization. They should share with the entire team, and if possible across the organization, means across the sector, if it's applicable to airports. Okay, I'll just give an example. So 12 HODs definitely the entire year, at least 12 sessions, they should have these sessions. Okay, so that itself brings a lot of tacit knowledge into explicit form. Okay, then what I feel is, especially those organizations which are very early in the knowledge man, don't keep or start measuring knowledge management in those metrics which are very detrimental. Okay, like what is the return on investment, how much uh, cost savings to have done. Okay, so that it really kills the entire beauty of knowledge management, basically. Okay, so having those measures, wrong measure also can disturb the entire knowledge management initiative. So have some positive knowledge management initiative or measures, I would say. Okay, over a period after, like major outcomes in terms of voice of customers. Okay, after, let's say I have done, I have taken a knowledge management initiative over a period of 2, 3 years, whether my customer complaints or my customer satisfaction has improved, that is the right measure. Then rather measuring, okay, I have invested 10 15 lakhs on knowledge management and what is the return I'm getting. No. So if my knowledge across the organization, my capabilities, my competencies of my employees have improved over a period of time through this knowledge management issue, then I should measure with more of the customer related outcomes than having what you say efficiency or wise of business related measures. So these two tips I would give to any business or a company which has started a business this KM journey. Okay, from my side.
Perfect.
So my take would not be very different from what Praveen said. Um, Two things basically. In when we talk about AI, I'll talk about AI first because I want to draw a parallel. We talk about narrow AI and broad AI, right? Narrow AI has a specific application. Are you there, Ketki? Your frame is frozen. I don't know whether I'm being heard.
Yeah, we are able to hear. I think only
Okay, so
Ketki is here.
there is, like we have narrow AI and broad AI. For newer organizations, the game should not be a broad brush.
Hmm.
It should be in areas that are critical to the business. Choose three, four, five areas, form communities or forums for those areas, and figure out ways of doing things better through collective knowledge. And you get some of the young uh, employees in the organization who are very tech savvy. Today, most organizations have Microsoft Teams or equivalent tools, right? If you tell the youngsters, can you figure out a way to capture conversations, recordings, and create some small applications or I don't know scripts or whatever which
Yeah.
can help us query, so don't, because you are new, and for very small organizations, small and medium organizations who are starting out, they're always under margin pressure. So
Yes.
they may not be in a position to go in for an expensive KM tool or a platform or any other platform, leave alone
Any
KM.
technology.
So basically, start with narrow KM, which is identify four, five critical areas where you really need to capture and harness knowledge in the organization, and start the old fashioned way. Get a group of
Hmm.
people together, get them to discuss, and give the problem of how to harness that knowledge to young kids and how to use technology to do that. This is what I would recommend.
So, one interesting experiment which we have run as BHyve and which combines sort of the ideas you both gave is we always in a company partner the GETs or the graduate management trainees with the
Fantastic.
leadership.
Hmm.
A one-to-one mapping is done where it is the responsibility or the initiative of the junior guy to go and tap into the knowledge wealth of the senior guy.
That will work very well, if you ask me.
Correct. Because it gives them face time, so they get excited about it. It gives them time to learn something new directly from a senior experienced person, so they get excited. And it captures the knowledge in a way that when they bring it into BHyve, either through a master class or through a written session or through a PPT recording, anything, it then becomes available to everybody. So this
You
is
just need to figure out a way to search for the right kind of information from various types of data and information. It could be a
correct.
PPT file, it could be a audio recording, it could be an AV, it could be anything.
So this is my moment to do a shameless plug. With BHyve, we have solved this. We do multimodal search. We are able to go through video, audio, images, dashboards, text,
Fantastic.
PPTs.
That's the way to
Um,
go.
and that saves people genuine time, right? If there is three pieces in three different formats, I'm not going to watch a 45-minute video. But if my
Absolutely.
search can take a person to exactly minute 12 and they find the answer there, they will just watch 1 minute of the clip, but their work is done. And so with technology, of course, I say, we are born at a time when there is so much new innovation is happening that we are able to bring this kind of efficiency into search and retrieval. But I think these are
And
awesome tips.
tacit knowledge, Ketki, that is more important.
G. So, like I said, water cooler. So, for us, we look at, like you said, conversations. If we can get notes from emails, notes from people's meetings, discussions, debates, these are places where, even our research goes in to find ways in which what I'm discussing in my free time with my person sitting next to me gets captured in a system. Chats, people one to one have chats where they ask each other for help. But awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I will close the session here. One last closing learning, something similar to what Vinodji did right at the start, but one closing learning that you want to give for our entire audience base here on how to look at AI and scale and how to start. I know we've gotten a lot of awesome hands on tips, but just as a closing note.
KM is not to be, sorry, Praveen.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Don't look at KM as a different subject.
Mm.
KM has to be an integral part of everything that you do. That is the only lesson that I can share. One single lesson.
So one lesson, see, AI is very interesting. I'm a student of AI now. Really fondly keep searching, doing various things, uh, and that's what the message is. Be a student, be a child. That curiosity should be there, basically. Okay, and I think technology is advancing at a very high uh, speed, I would say, and velocity, I would say. Okay, so be aware of all the AI tools which are coming into the market. Okay, we should not, I would say, fall back. And we should not be so happen that we are missing the buzz of AI. Okay, so there is a lot of jargon and a lot of talk about AI, but the application and the tool is very powerful. I have seen that. Okay, and over a period of next 10-15 years, definitely it will have a lot of impact in our day-to-day working. Definitely. So as collect as much as knowledge, information, application, usage is happening across different businesses, different industries. The applications where you can use it, it will definitely come to your mind. So it should not be a big issue. I think from that note, I would leave today. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. This has been a fascinating discussion. I have learned so many new examples myself. Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you, Praveenji, for being here today, for doing this with us. I always appreciate the time I get to spend and learn from you both. Thank you so much to our audiences. I hope you found this an insightful session. Stay tuned. We'll reach out to you with follow-ups with our next session, which is focusing on professional services. We have some research and consulting experts coming and talking about their idea of AI and knowledge. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Take care.
Thank you, Ketvi. Really grateful to BHyve team and all the audience who are present today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vinod,
Likewise,
for
and it was a
connecting again
pleasure to
once
connect
again.
with Praveen once again.
Yes, thank you.
And may all your platforms always buzz with very hardworking bees. And all of us are bees here.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
In search of the honey of knowledge.
Perfect. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Thank
Vinodji.
you.
Take care, guys. Thank you so much for being